To answer your question, Spider, doing so good. Hi, everybody. I'm Kyle from Fantasy Forge Studios, and we are back, finally, after a month away, for some Adventures in Middle-earth, Wilderland adventure. We are joined by all three of our players here today, and they are currently in the throes of a murder mystery. And so they are, investigating. Pulling out all of their magnifying glasses and notes and looking for clues in order to help find Oderic to be able to bring him back to Bayorn for judgment. But with that being the case, before we do anything, I'm going to go ahead and have our players introduce themselves, introduce who you're playing, and we're going to go ahead and start with Theodric.
Hey everybody, my name is That Tubby Australian. I'm one of the mods here at Fantasy Forged, and I play Theodric Grimborn. He is our 18-year-old, very young Slayer of Rohan, traveling the world with his beloved horse Baradarok and his new-ish friends, Fëanor and Jessamine, trying to help people, rid the world of evil, rescue kittens from trees, that kind of thing. Yeah, glad to be back.
Awesome. Our next player is Jessamine Sackville-Baggins.
Hello, everybody. I am SpiderFan33 in Twitch chat. Go Maroons, obviously, even though they are playing awfully tonight. We're just going to ignore that. I play Jessamine Sackville-Baggins, a cousin of the infamous Bilbo
Baggins.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. I will use my rocks on you. She likes cooking and crystals, and she's really keen to see what the deal is in this quaint little village.
Absolutely. And our final character that we have with us is Fëanor.
Hey guys, I'm Nick. I play Fëanor, our Mirkwood elf barbarian, slayer. Me and Mike have. Oh wow, you can tell this has been a while, can't you?
For all of us.
Yeah, I'm a mounted slayer, much like Theodric, who has a brown horse with him. I have Nympharion, my giant white stag, who nearly died a few sessions ago. Gotta get some armor for that deal. But no, we finally made it to this town, and we're almost going to get Oderic. Hopefully this chapter can be over, and we can just punch the guy, sending us on a wild goose chase.
I feel like every time we have combat, Nim nearly dies.
Yeah, but he never has. Who knows? Okay. Maybe he can't die.
That's true. We are all immortal.
The one thing I realize too is every time there's combat, nobody ever rides their mount. They just control them like an additional pet.
It doesn't make sense to me.
I'm never on my mount when combat.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. It's because our combat never happens in a large open plain. It's always on the top of a small mountain, or it's in a forest with tight woods, or
good stuff.
I feel like Fëanor has ridden Nim into battle more than a few times. Well,
he's ridden it away from battle a few times.
I rode into a giant spider with it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, lit things on fire and then rode away very fast on it, right?
That was the only way he was going to win that.
I used Nim to gore Savage Taller.
Yeah,
so,
that's true. Right in the face.
By the end of this adventure, it's like we're all going to be standing there like, wow. Isn't this awesome? And Nim's just going to be covered in scars literally everywhere. Like, what have you done to me?
Yeah. We don't even have to wait that long. That's kind of Nim now.
Yeah.
Just getting patched up, letting things heal. Actually, not really patched up, just letting things heal with just some rest. It's all good.
Yeah, rubbing some mud and putting some moss on him. It's like, yeah, this is better.
I love it.
But yes.
Oh, I have exhaustion. Where did that come from?
I think we all do we not?
Yeah,
I probably
I don't. I managed to roll well.
I just forgot about it. It's been that long.
Yeah, there was a night of forced marching. So you guys had. So but
fair enough.
I'm Kyle. Hey, how's it going, everybody? I am the Lore Master here. I am playing both with and against these players, but also, more importantly, helping to weave the narrative that these adventures are creating and their impact on Middle-earth. It's a pleasure. I'm very excited to be able to jump right back into it with our wonderful cast of players. And with that being said, without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump right into the session from where we left off. A little bit of recap. It has, again, I think, what was it? Our last session was the 15th or something. It is now the 26th of June.
Yeah.
So, the 15th of May, by the way. Now the 26th of June, and so we've got a little bit of catching up to do for viewers, everything. If you are curious and want to see all of our previous episodes, they are up on our YouTube page. Make sure to check that out. But, quick brief recap. This group of adventurers, they are making their way through Wilderland, ridding it of all of the evil baddies, but more importantly, they are helping to not only unite the forces that are within the general region, but they are off on a special task to go reclaim an escaped prisoner for Beorn. And so they have made their way south, chasing this escaped prisoner, Oderic, who had slain 2 of the Beornings. I believe those Beornings were named Maravich and Odo. And these 2 were high guards that belonged to Beorn. Particularly, Maravich was his right-hand man, and they were escorting a prisoner up the Anduin to be judged at the Carrick. They were slain, and they were felled by what looks to be orc arrows inside of them, and the party brought their bodies back to Beorn, to which they were tasked with retrieving this escaped prisoner. As not only did he run from the law, but he stole Maravich's sword, particularly fancy sword with a nice gold embezzled hilt, and also Maravich's cloak. And he has made his way down south to the town of Stonyford. One thing led to another. There were some combats and stuff that happened, but eventually the company made their way to this village of Stonyford, where they found out that Oderic was on the run for potentially some good reasons. A couple weeks ago, about a fortnight ago, they ran into some issues with some kind of domestic disputes. So, long story short, let's see if I can sum this up from what they learned last session. Oderic was adopted by a Beorning by the name of Helmgut. Helmgut had a daughter. And so Oderic was the kind of like the stepbrother to this stepbrother. It's not stepbrother. It's like, is it stepbrother? What would technically that
no.
It's
relation?
like adopted sibling, yeah.
Technically, it would just be
Yeah.
brother, but like
Brother.
not
Brother to
if you're adopted by a parent, it would just be brother.
okay, adopted brother to Brunhild. Apparently, Oderic and Brunhild were close, so much to the point where there was a dispute with Brunhild's new husband as of 2 years, the captain of the guard, a man by the name of Rathvik. And he had been there to fight off bandits that had attacked a couple months previously. And as they ran away, the numbers were dwindling, and he was kind of one of their last defenses that he had. However, Oderic was last seen standing over him in the crime scene with a knife, a dagger in his hand, dripping with blood, and a very dead Rathvik on the ground. He gave himself up willingly to be taken up to Beorn for judgment. And that was the last that at least the individuals that the group had seen and have been talking to saw of Oderic. They, the people that they had encountered and they had seen were essentially the main core of kind of like the governing system of Stonyford. Which is actually run by a elderly man by the name of Heartwolf, who looks like he's gone a little bit crazy. He's muttering some weird stuff, specifically to Theodric, and also his daughter Ava, who, in kind of his her father's craziness, his delusions. She has taken over as a kind of spokesperson for the town and is dealing with all the ongoings of the town. Now that this company, this group of adventurers have made their way down to the city to investigate, they have divulged all the information that they know, and they have given them leave to be able to investigate much of the town to whatever their hearts desire. They were also given kind of safe room inside one of the towers that are on the far south side of the town, if they do wish to stay the night. It is the middle of the day right now, and the group has... I guess I'll just leave it up to you. What are you guys doing as far as who do you want to go investigate first?
I have a question before we get into
Yes.
that. Were we given back our weapons?
You were not given back your weapons, no.
Okay, cool. No
They
way.
do
All right,
not
if we go into a fight, just let me and Theodric go first. We can just punch the crap out of whoever.
Oh, if there's a fight, I'm full on hiding.
You know
No,
what? I'll just take. I'll just.
Jalen. Jessamine perfect size for nut shots. Like, you've
True.
got to
No,
get
if
in there.
a fight breaks out, I'll just grab out that orcish helm that we picked up like ages ago, and I'll just beat the guy with it.
I would love to play like a gnomish barbarian whose whole
Attacks
strategy is to just get the mob to throw him at stuff.
Like
Okay,
Jalen.
so do we want to? You said it's almost nighttime, yeah?
No, midday,
No,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
about
midnight.
midday.
because we woke up this morning at the farm.
A little
and then
past
we
midday, about
departed.
2 or 3.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we wanted to investigate the adoptive father's house because no one's seen him in a few days.
Yeah.
But other than after that, depending on what we find though, what do you guys want to do with the time after that? Like, what are our plans? We can say as we're walking through, because Feanor actually wants to maybe spend some time helping with the defenses of this town, because if they've been getting attacked a lot, then that's probably the first thing.
That's a pretty good idea.
One of the things that you notice too is that they had kind of a palisade that looked like it had been basically run through by many bodies and weapons, and it looks like a little bit of fire too. And so out in front of the gate there isn't actually a solid gate really. It's more of just kind of a hodgepodge of broken barrels and crates and stuff that have been placed out in front, along with basically some spikes to keep basically horses from charging into the town. It looks in a pretty sad state.
Yeah.
At least their defenses.
Well, I reckon we go check out this old man's house, and this place seems to be in a sorry state, so it'd also be in our interest to let anyone who might be in town know that there's someone that he's returned back to town, you know?
Well, a town this size, I'm sure word would get around pretty quickly. Especially, if Ava is she seems very capable.
Yes, no, she does. Her father's alive. I guess, does that happen to all, men when they get old? I'm looking at Theodric asking that question.
I don't know. I just wish they'd stop whispering ominous things to me.
Look, if you whisper something ominous to me when you're 130, 140, that's... I will punch you.
Just generally assume that I've gone mad if I reach that age.
If you okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if only Valmuth is here. All old people are insane.
Yeah, he could write that one down. I think that's a safe bet.
We make our way towards the house.
As you make your way through town, I'm going to have all of you make perception checks for me.
And in answer to your question, Feanor, Jess will say, yeah, that sounds like an excellent idea. I think, depending on what we find at the house, of course, I would like to talk to Brunhild. I think she could offer some insight into what's happening here. And it might be better if I talk to her alone, if you two want to work on the defenses of the town.
Yes, I might see what I can do. Theodric?
Yeah.
Is that? Do you want to help with that, or
I-
is there anything that you would
I'll
like?
help.
nothing,
I'll-
nothing against you two boys. I
I
just
will
think
help.
I'm very disarming by myself. So
Yes. Yes. No. People don't generally think of violence when they see you.
I'll just grin.
We know better, but yes. Yeah. I got a 13 because level 1 exhaustion is just disadvantage on ability
Yep.
checks.
Oh,
Exactly.
it's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so
I
13.
got a 17.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thanks for the reminder. 12.
Okay. So Feanor and Jess, the two of you, as you're walking through the town, you can't help to see that many of the buildings are in relative disarray. You don't see many people walking through the city, but the town looks pretty abandoned. Many of the windows are boarded up. Many of the doors have kind of been open and left. You can tell that there's been growth that has begun to make its way into some of these buildings. So you started up in this building up here, and you've started making your way down to the general area where Helmgut lives, or at least where he's been rumored to live. And it's kind of a sad sight. Many of the people that you've seen thus far, there aren't very many people, but they seem dreary, almost as if down in the dumps for some reason, as if there's been like kind of this kind of like aura of despair that has settled itself amongst the town, which is kind of strange considering it's so beautiful, nice blue skies and whatnot. This is actually quite nice weather for the season that it is. But Theodric, in your mind, as you look around, you can see that there are many paths that actually dart out into the forest. So you're looking at the defenses of the city. So down here so this is the north here, this is the south, this is the east, and this is the west. So the Anduin runs along the western coast of the town, and there are many fields and whatnot that are there. But your eyes are particularly drawn to the paths that lead into this wooded area. It's not a dense forest per se, but you can tell as you look at tracks from your hunting expertise that not many animals have been coming in and out through here. You can actually see what looks to be many shuffled boots, sandals, steps, as if there have been people regularly going in and out of the forest. And there seems to be no attempt to be covering this up as well.
Can I see any... Is there anything other than just, as far as I can tell, just woods in that direction?
It's slightly wooded, so you can see generally through it, past and kind of into the other side, especially at midday. No, nothing in particular, but the woods would provide decent cover, especially during the night.
I'm gonna turn to Feanor and Jessamine and just say, you know, if they're trying to defend their town, just, I don't know, having something to kind of block these woods off and keep them safe would, I don't know, probably be a better idea.
Yeah, so they're a bit too... I suppose that something that could be done could be traps, could be laid out within the woods. But other than that, unless you plan to clear part of the forest...
Yeah, I don't think that's really doable.
Much too close to start a controlled burn.
And it looks
also
quite
much too
traveled,
close
too.
to the river.
It also looks quite well traveled, so we don't really want to be messing with it. Just food for thought.
Yes. No.
And with that, you eventually make your way over to the House of Helmgut. This is much less of a house than Brunhild's house, the disheveled house that it was, and more of kind of just this one-room cottage. As you look around, you can see that there are... The main door itself is closed, and the facade of it is made of stone, and the roof looks to be made of a dense thatch. There is no chimney that rises from any of the, basically from it, and there is no light inside.
Who wants to knock?
I'll do it.
Okay, I might
Again,
I might just,
disarming.
yeah. I might just walk around the backside just in case he is here. He tries to get out the back.
All right.
And I'm just gonna stand back a little bit and let you handle this in case they find me threatening.
Yeah.
Good
so
idea.
do you want to do so as far as the sneaking goes, Feanor? Do you want to be sneaky, or do you want to just walk around casually and just not trying to hide yourself, but just walk around the back?
Not trying to sneak. He's just gonna.
Okay.
He's a bit tired, so but he's just gonna go back around against another building and just kind of lean and like be able to watch and just see the building.
So Feanor,
Before you go, Jess will like, hey, just have your net ready, just in case.
They took my net.
they did.
What?
Yes, no, it's most tragic.
Outrageous.
My most powerful weapon.
That is a powerful weapon. We'll have to see if we can get you another one.
100%. No, I don't want another one. It's my lucky net.
Oh, okay. All right. In that case, aim for the knees. Like
I'll
when you
try.
go to tackle. Yeah.
Feanor, as you make your way around to the back of this building, you can see that there's one window kind of on the inside, but it seems to be shuttered up. But as you make your way to the backside, you can see that there is a small circular window, probably about the size of, I would say, like a beach ball, that has been nestled into the thatch of the roof, almost kind of like a pseudo skylight to a degree, but it is looking basically westward down the slope into the kind of the pastures that are by the Anduin.
Probably actually quite a nice view. Have your bed up in the rafters, be able to look out the window. Be good. But yes, Feanor's more or less just going to wait, and he's just going to more or less see if anything happens. He's going to let the others work their magic.
Also, just for the sake of Theodric's positioning,
Mhm.
he's going to be close enough to help Jessamine if anything goes sideways,
Yep.
but he wants to generally remain pretty much out of sight
Okay.
from the doorway.
So around the side, there's a small little outhouse that you're able to maybe duck right behind, which leaves you probably about 6 feet from the entrance to the house.
Okay. Because Theodric doesn't expect there is trouble, but he does not want to make Brunhilde and Helgut feel threatened, I guess, but he's not going to leave Jessamine hanging.
For sure. And with that, Jess, are you gonna go ahead and knock? How do you want to go about doing this?
Yeah. Just like I'll do like a casual walk, but like people. I would say walking up casually to the door,
Mhm.
but I think in this moment, Jess has kind of forgotten how to be casual. So those are the vibes going like up to the door, and she'd be just like, knock, knock, knock. Like, hello. Does someone leave named Helmgut or Brunhild live here? Hello. Just like calling out.
Make a perception check.
Okay. Oh, with disadvantage, because I remember stuff like that. Roll. It's still pretty good. It's 19.
19. That's really good.
Yeah,
As you do so, you don't hear anything or anyone coming close to the door. However, you can just barely hear the sound of something heavy falling onto the floor.
Oh. Is everyone all right?
And after that, nothing.
Okay. I'm going to like test the door to see if it's locked.
As you reach up to grab the door, you jiggle the handle to a degree, and it gives way, and the door creaks open. And as you peer inside, it takes a moment for your eyes to adjust, but you can see one trickle of light coming from the upper window peer all the way through to the doorway. But it kind of blinds your view of anything else inside, but the rest of the room is dark. I'm going to have you make an investigation check for me.
Okay, alright.
It's a scary moment when the DM then says, "What's your AC?"
What's your passive perception?
A hand exploded in your face.
Investigation. Oh man, I'm too used to playing my other character who's really good at investigation.
As Theodric hears Jessamine opening the door and everything, he's gonna peek around the outhouse and be like, Jess, is everything okay?
You see nothing but darkness inside the room with Jess standing in the doorway. Partially open as it's kind of creaks open by itself.
I'll beckon him to come over as I enter the room to do this investigation check, which was a 12.
12. As your eyes finish adjusting, you see something dark, small and dark, rush from the corner of the room over to you and out, immediately out the doorway. It is a black cat as it goes, as it basically like purrs. It doesn't really pay you too much mind as it rushes into the woods, actually out the side. It looks to be... I'm going to actually have you make a insight check for me, both of you.
Okay.
Ooh, I'm on fire tonight. 19.
Ow.
You are rolling these with disadvantage, right?
He doesn't
No,
have
No,
to.
because I have no exhaustion.
He's just built.
Outrageous.
Different. Built incorrectly.
15 for me.
15.
Not up to specifications.
From just your general, like, kind of, as you see it run out, you can see that it looks relatively malnourished, as if it had been trapped in here for some time. It looks to be escaping at the first sight of daylight. But you walk in, and you see in front of you a very sad state of a room. You can tell that there's a kind of a small hearth, and then a kind of a side table used kind of as like a cutting table, eating all the things done in one place. There is a sandwich that is on a plate that looks like it has molded at this point, and you look over to the far end, right underneath where the window is of the room, and you can see that there is a bed, and there is a lump of something or someone underneath the covers.
I immediately rush over to the bed to see what's
I was muted.
going on.
Theodric is going to look for anything that he can use to light the area up a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as your eyes adjust, it's you can see a little bit better, but there are a couple nubs of candles and some candle holders. There's a kind of a candelabra, and it's got 6 basically candles, and it's 2 of them have candles in it, little nubs. You might be able to find something to light a match. I'm actually gonna have you make an investigation check to see if you can find what you need. But Jess, you see this, and you run over to the bed. And as you do so, you nearly trip as you stumble over what looks to be a giant battle axe that has fallen on the floor. But you catch yourself on the bed.
Yeah, I ignore it.
And you catch yourself on the bed, and you see this is definitely man-shaped. Probably someone who's in the ballpark of 6'2", 6'3". But the covers are drawn just over. You can tell that they're laying probably on their face, just over the part where it's like maybe like part of the way up their neck, and you can see long shaggy hair coming from the shoulders. Anyways, really quickly, investigation check.
I got a 14, I believe.
14. You're able to find something to strike a match, and as you do so, you're getting this candelabra ready, and you make your way over to the side of the bed, and you can see that absolutely there is a man here, and Jess seems to be at work doing... What are you doing, Jess?
Yeah. I, like, throw the covers back and be like, "Hello, sir, are you okay?"
There's a delayed response, but there is a response nonetheless. You hear a groaning, and Theodric, as you bring the candelabra over, you look over to the other side, and you can see that in one hand that is dangling off the bed, there seems to be a wineskin in his hand.
Oh, okay.
Sir,
Theodric's-
please, I'm here to help. Can you tell me where it hurts?
Who's there? And he immediately springs up, kind of sluggishly, but immediately for in the state that he's in. He looks around and he's like, and he's reaching for something that is on the side of basically like a little wardrobe that's on the side, and his hand brushes over the front of it. He's like, where is it? Who are you? And he turns around and he adjusts as he's adjusting his eyes, and you can see that he is sloshed. Feanor, you definitely hear the yelling from outside.
Where was that battle axe, by the way?
It was
again?
right on the floor beneath Jess's feet.
Yeah.
I'm going to just kick that battle axe a little further away from the drunk man.
Okay. He's kind of like half sitting up, and he looks to you, to Jess, and he goes, "Who are you?" And like almost as if like the light from the doorway is blinding him. He's like, Can't you leave a grieving man in peace? And he gives a couple hefty coughs as he just like falls back onto his dusty pillow. Plumes of dust go everywhere.
Well,
Well, this is not healthy at all.
I
Right.
don't say. I feel like smelling like an alehouse is definitely a healthy situation to be in.
It's not at all. Right. Let's get to work. Theodric, could I trouble you to get a couple of buckets of water? We're going to clean this place up.
Okay,
As you
maybe
do
we
so, he begins screaming, "Guards! Guards! I have intruders! Someone's breaking in! Guards!" As he just like, you can tell
We're
that
not-
he's just...
Helmgat, I need you to calm down.
How do you know my name?
And, like, in my
Who are
best
you?
motherly voice. I need you to calm down. We're here to help. We're not
as this
intruders.
is
Your
happening,
door was unlocked.
Theodric has put the candelabra down somewhere where it can still light up the room. He's grabbed the battle axe and he is just like placed it by the door, and he's going to go get buckets of water, and he's just like chuckling to himself. He's like, "Yep, Jessamine can handle this one."
Yes, make a dexterity
My name is
saving throw for me.
Jessamine. I'm here to help you. Please do not resist.
I will say, when Theodric goes outside, Feanor will have strolled up. After hearing the yelling, he would have...
Also, I don't know if you heard, Kyle, but you need a dex saving throw, Jess.
Me?
Yeah.
All of you.
Dexterity
Okay.
saving throw.
Alright. Well, I'm good at those.
Disadvantage. Oh, wait, no, it's not.
No,
The
saving
saving
throws.
throws are not
I got a
yet.
23.
23.
Oh,
He
wow.
takes the wineskin that's in his hand, and he chucks it at you. But either his vision's off or something, but he just chucks it into the top corner of the room. You don't even have to dodge this, as you're just like kind of like look up at him, and he seems to be just struggling to even understand like what is going on in this moment. His ears are not listening to anything that's being said.
As
Oopsie
Feanor
daisy.
passes Theodric's gonna go, "Well, yeah, have fun with this. This might be in like more your wheelhouse of specialization." You know.
What could that possibly... Oh, my God.
You could just smell the waft coming
Ugh.
out of this place.
Ugh. You know, I lived in a forest. I'm not sure I'm used to damp. Oh, I can smell the mold in the air. Ugh.
Yeah. So Jess is gonna like start with like all the pantries, and she's gonna investigate everything, and she's just gonna start like getting like a bucket for any spoiled food or anything, and then be looking for cleaning supplies and like tidying stuff up.
Yeah. Feanor, like, at the doors, gonna give a little rap, like, "Jess, you alright in there?" It's... Oh, there you are.
Yes, I'm
Oh.
quite alright.
At this point, he's twisted in his blanket, and he's trying to like get it off of him as he's like falling over and stumbling around, like seemingly like he's blind, trying to get a hold on something. As he tries to stand up, but his legs are wobbly, either from misuse or just sheer drunkenness. As he collapses back onto the floor and says, I didn't invite you here. Gods! Gods! And then immediately...
We were invited by Ava, darling. I'm sorry.
I'll just. Do we know what his job was in the town? Was he like a guard or anything himself?
I don't think we asked.
I don't know.
You have no way of
No.
knowing.
Feanor is gonna walk in and he's gonna be like, "Oi, attention! Get a hold of yourself. You're disrespecting the lady."
Make an intimidation check for me.
A disadvantage is probably isn't gonna go great. Yep, it's already not going good. Yep, 3.
You should be riding the deer, then you'd have advantage.
Who are you? What even is this? Is this a raid? Where's my axe? As he's just like stumbling around, he stands up again and boom, his hands slip out from under him and he smacks his head on the floor. He's my head, and he begins curling up on the floor.
Is there a table with like a chair
There
and
is.
stuff?
Yeah.
All right, Feanor's going to go over him and offer the guy a hand and like to help him up, and he's going to try and like pull him up and set him in the chair at the table. All right, old timer, come on, up.
Make a persuasion check for me.
Yep, that's not gonna go. Well, first roll goes okay. I rolled 2 nat 20s for a 19.
He goes to swat your hand away, but as you reach out for him, you grab him by the forearm, and you pull him up. And actually, he looks frail on the floor, but as you pull him up, you can actually feel the strength as he rises to his feet and he slowly balances himself. And he's like, "Who are you?"
My name is Feanor. This is Jessamine, and we have another pal, Theodric. We've got some questions, and we were told in town that no one had heard from you in some time, so we came to check on you.
I told everyone to leave me alone. I'm a man in grief.
Oh, well,
Even if as it may, Ava was concerned about you. So
yes, you might want to take a seat, because we've got some news.
About what? And he goes ahead and he goes, like, sits to the end of his bed, and there's just like this creak as it just sags under the sheer weight of this man. As you look at him and you investigate him, he's got basically clothing on, and he's quite stinky indeed, but underneath it looks like there's some kind of chain shirt that he's wearing beneath his normal clothing. Which probably contributes a little bit to the weight that he has. But he's got like this messed up kind of facial hair and beard, but his face looks younger than like what he actually entails. And he says, "Alright, I'm listening for now."
our news can wait, Feanor. This man needs a bath, some grooming, and a hot meal first.
Someone hired me a maid service. It was Ava, wasn't it? And
I do not do this as a service, sir. I do this because I was raised right.
Do you think I can't take care of myself?
Clearly you can't.
Clearly you cannot. At
A
this
man in
time,
grief should
at
still
this
be
point
able
in
to...
time, you are in grief. I know what that grief feels like. I've been there. And I know how hard it is to carry that burden by yourself and do all these things by yourself. All right? Now, I'm offering to help you, but I need some cooperation from you. So go with Feanor, get changed. I'll have lunch ready in an hour.
Say lunch.
Yes,
Yeah.
lunch.
She's quite a talented cook.
And I know how to cure a hangover too.
Oi.
I will not brook argument on this. 1 hour.
She served Bjorn himself at a great feast. You should be honored.
Look at you. Ava's pulled out first class from me. Fine. As he just like holds his head, it's just like, what day is it? As he just like recalls back. By the way, it is currently for the current adventure
Feanor would have no
I don't
idea.
even know what day it is.
Would any of us have actually kept track? That's the important.
No.
Don't worry, I'm keeping track
No.
for you guys. It is currently the 22nd of May.
See. He's gone, what day is it? Wouldn't have any clue. Come on.
I'm
Sit
sure
outside,
Theodric knows.
get a breath of fresh air.
Oh, who's that out there? As he looks out and he sees the big hulking figure of Theodric bringing in some buckets of water.
I think that's Theodric, and I think he's come with your bath. Quick, Feanor's going to pick up one of the chairs and carry it outside.
Well, first things first, duty calls as he gets up and he just hear Crick in his back. He's like, what's that doing over there? And he grabs his battle axe and he drags it behind him as he makes his way out to the outhouse. He slams the door and he says, a moment of peace, please.
Well, Theodric, it's up to you. Do you throw the bucket in, or do you let the man have a moment?
Theodric's standing there with 3 buckets, and he hands one to Jess. He's like, that's for cleaning the house. And then he puts the two other buckets by his feet. And he's like, he just kind of stares at the outhouse before looking at the other two, and he's like, what a charming individual.
And softly to him, he's going to be like, I also haven't told him the purpose of our visit, just thought it was more appropriate that he wake up.
Sober up?
More.
I mean, okay. That's good too.
He's
But
in pain.
Yeah. And he's about to hear that kind of the source of his pain is back in town. Actually, speaking of that, do you reckon that yous will be fine here? I want to have a little bit more of a look around town.
Sure.
Of
I
course.
think
I was
they've
going
got
to
this
enlist
handled.
your help to me clean this place, but
Feanor's got more important things in mind.
of course. Right.
No, it's purely Feanor does not want to help. That place smells horrendous. Yes.
After a few moments, you hear him get up and the door opens as he's tucking in his shirt to his pants. He goes, "Oi, what's this about?"
Theodric's going to just hand him a bucket.
Wash your face, at least.
Yeah,
You'll
here
do
we
more
go.
than that if you want to sit at the table.
To answer some of your questions, I'm Theodric. It's the 26th of May. This bucket is so that you don't smell like an alehouse. The other one's to sober you up if you need it. And
what date you just say it was?
the 26th of May.
I haven't seen daylight in a week and a half. Where's Brunhild? And as he begins looking around.
That's part of why we're here.
That is a question we were going to try and ask you. Your door was unlocked, by the way, so we didn't break in. Your cat looks like it hadn't been fed in quite a while, and all of your food was moldy. So we assumed nobody was home until we found you on that bed, knocked out. Passed out.
The town does look a bit abandoned, so I did have the passing thought that maybe you'd skipped out on town.
Boy. Well, look at you lot. You're clearly not from here. As he just begins to sit down, he takes a sponge out of basically the bucket. And he begins kind of wiping himself down and kind of cleaning his face very slowly as he just begins to talk to you, just very strange and very casually. You're clearly not from here. Not many visitors make their way down to Stonyford these days. Not many locals stay either. What could you want with me?
Well, we were going to wait until you'd had a good meal, but if you don't want to beat around the bush, we'll get right to the point. We were hired by Bard to track a criminal who escaped. Not Bard, sorry. We were hired by Bayon. We were hired by Bayon to track a criminal who escaped justice.
We believe you're quite familiar with said criminal. Oderic escaped.
He freezes in like mid what he's doing, and he just like he kind of slumps his shoulders. He takes the sponge and he slams it into the bucket, and he's like,
and we've tracked him. Yes, Oderic got most of the way to Bjorn's settlement when they were attacked by orcs, and he robbed Merovich, one of Bjorn's right hand, and fled south. Well, no, fled north, wasn't it? Towards where
he fled back here.
Yeah, basically fled back here, back to Stonyford, and he's only been a day or two ahead of us. But we arrived today, actually not long ago. We were hoping that you could give us some answers.
He chuckles to himself and he shakes his head, and he puts his head back as he looks up at the sky, and he shields his eyes a little bit, and he says, "It would be him, wouldn't he? Taking this moment he got the opportunity to be able to escape from the justice that's due to him. You said he's back here."
We believe his tracks did lead us to this town, and we met. What was the guy's name? No, the dude at the farm who said that he'd spoken to him.
Oh,
Gary?
Gerald.
Yes, we met the farmer Gerald not far from here, who said that Oderic had actually stayed the night and had actually been quite pleasant and even paid for his stay, but said that he was on his way back here to Stonyford.
Paid for his stay. With what? And he just laughs to himself. He's just, that boy. What am I going to do with that boy? And you can clearly tell this is like the look of a just beyond exhausted, but beyond just done father.
Can I roll would it be insight? I think an insight check to see, is he truly like, has he washed his hands of it, or is there some form of like paternal love still there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, make an insight check for me.
I'm gonna like just give him his knee a sympathetic pat.
That's an 11 on my insight check.
As you pat his knee, he looks up to you and he says,
Down.
"Down."
No, he's on a chair. I mean, it'll probably be
Even on a chair.
yeah.
He looks down to you and he gives you a soft smile and he says, "It's been a while since I've had anyone of comfort here who would come to any kind of understanding, sympathy. I'm not looking for sympathy, but as he continues to speak, Theodoric, you can tell that based off of his general reaction, the soft laugh that he gave before, it's difficult to tell, but it almost looks like relief.
Okay.
He begins rambling, almost as if his words are tongue-tied. He's probably still hungover to a degree, but he looks to you, Jess, and he says, "You don't have to do this, you know."
Well, I don't have to do anything. I choose to.
But why? Who am I to you? You're going after my son, and as he says son, he hesitates for a moment, and he says, "Oh, Derek. I'm here to give you what information you need. You don't need to go through all of this," as he gestures back to the house.
But I do.
In grief, you need organization. In grief, you need to have some kind of control.
I'm old. I've experienced much grief in my life. Do you have something to drink?
I think you've had way more than enough.
I fetch him a glass of water.
He looks at it for a moment and he sighs, and as he sips it,
Do you have coffee here? That'll be better for you.
No. I don't remember the last time I ate. Whatever's in there is probably...
That's right. In that case, I will go shopping.
You, as he points to you, Theodric.
Yes.
You're clearly a man from the south.
Yes, from Rohan.
What duty brings you up here to Stonyford? Usually you're the horse lords, as they call them. They have much duty down, keeping their land safe, keeping your land safe. What brings you here?
Well, I've been given leave to travel, see the world, learn all I can about warfare and the people of Middle-earth, and then I guess once I've had enough, go home and take up my position in the Rohirrim.
Youth. How old are you?
Uh,
25, 26?
18 as of 2 months ago.
18.
I don't remember celebrating your birthday, Theodric.
We were in the middle of a fight for our lives on a mountain against a bunch of goblins and orcs, so yeah. I don't think we had the time.
Unacceptable.
My boy Oderic. Oderic. Let's just say proper introductions. You know who I am, of course. And yes. I was the foster father of Oderic. When he was a lad, he lost his parents. Tragic. They were preyed upon by a group of bandits as they were traveling up north. I took him in. And he was a handful, to say the least. At the age of 19, a year older than you are, sir, said Theodric, I wouldn't have trusted him as far as I could throw him. Just to go off on his own. Perhaps I was too protective. I don't know. He had a knack for making enemies. He had fits of violence. He would often wake up in the night with terrors of that night with his parents. I knew he was going to be a handful. And he sighs. He says, the moment I found him, he had a sword. And he was standing over the bodies of 2 bandits. There was no emotion in his face. No grief, no joy in his eyes. But I saw that there was promise in him. I took him in. One thing led to another. He made enemies, and he didn't really fit in amongst the people here in this town. He did have one boy that he would go to and from with, Wilfred, but even then, his relationships grew distant. I encouraged him to make friends. I encouraged him to soften up his demeanor a bit, but the only person that could bring a smile to his face was my dear Brunhild. She kept him sane. I failed as a father.
No. No, you didn't.
Well, he is a murderer. He is off on the run. He has come to return for whatever nefarious reasons, and
Those are his sins, not yours. You took a boy who needed a family in. From what we've heard, you tried to teach him right from wrong. You tried to make him a good man. that he didn't take those lessons or that he ignored those lessons is on him. From what we've heard from Ava, your daughter Brunhild is a brilliant person. So clearly you've done something right. Sometimes some people are just broken.
And at that word broken, he lets out a deep sob. It's not full out crying, it's just one sob. Tears stream down his cheeks. He goes, ugh, as almost the breath is taken out of him completely. My daughter. She was my world. She was everything to me. When I took Oderic in, I had him make a vow to me that he would protect Brunhild at all costs. And now he's broken her. How can I forgive his sins? When he's not only killed a man, my son-in-law, the defender of this town, but has thrown away the heart of my daughter.
Nobody is asking you to forgive Oderic for anything that he's done. Nobody would ask that of you. Our job today is just to shine some light on this matter. If you don't feel that Oderic deserves your forgiveness or that you can't forgive him, then I'm sure a lot of people would agree with you on that.
What Oderic needs is justice.
Yes.
But he's my son. Nonetheless. How can I simply just sign away my son to be put to death when he himself is so broken?
His hands, like both of them, and like wait till he's like looking at me, or if he doesn't look at me, like I'll just continue anyway.
He eventually does.
But I'll grab his hands.
Mm-hmm. He does look
eventually. Yeah, okay. I'll just grab his hand and be like, Oderic's sins are not yours. Even if you can't forgive him, you should at least try to forgive yourself. You did everything that you could. It's not your fault.
He lets out a shaky breath. I'm going to have you make a persuasion check for me, Jess.
That's pretty good. 18.
I know. I did all that I could. You should have seen the look in his eyes that night. All I saw was that same boy. The night his parents died. Nothing. No remorse. No emotion. Brunhild in the corner weeping. Oderic, a husk of a man. A child. Still a child. What justice is there is putting a child to death?
We don't know that he will be put to death.
That's the laws of our land, the laws of our people. Is it selfish of me that I'm glad that he escaped? But not at the detriment of two other men. don't know if he killed them. I don't know if he killed Beorn's best. But he steals. He's doing everything wrong. Maybe he deserves it. But I don't want it.
Part of the reason we came to find you is because we're trying to also find where Brunhild might be. That's one of the things that we wanted to ask you about, because if he's not here with you, he may be trying to find her.
He looks up to you, tears still streaming down his face, and he says, "She's here. I know it. In the night, I hear her weeping a sad song. But it only strengthens my grief. Stonyford, what hope does Stonyford have? On one hand, my son is causing problems. A kinslayer. He's killed, utterly destroyed this town's best chance at defense. And people, more and more people, leave by the day, seeking better pastures, better lands. I was here at the founding of Stonyford. I will die defending it. But these bones, these muscles, they cannot do it alone. Oderic, he has the strength of 5 of the best men here. If he just knew how to control his temper, if he knew how to control his emotions, if he had a purpose.
Feanor glances at Theodric before glancing back at this man.
Yeah, I think there's a moment where like all 3 of us just sort of look at each other. But then I turn my attention back to Hellguts, and I will say something eloquent.
Very good.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I couldn't have done that.
Just call me the poet, the bard I am. Okay, so how put this into words? I understand your sorrow. Even I can see why you were so grievously wounded by this. But whatever Oderic has done to this family, it is not his only crime. And I think that the loved ones of the others that he has hurt on his way deserves their justice as well. I cannot promise you that Oderic will return here completely unharmed. There should be consequences for his actions. But whatever we find here, we will report to Beorn. And I am inclined to ask him for mercy in this case. A reduced sentence, if you will. As for the defense of Stonyford, my friends and I have skills that we can help.
Do you have an army at your backs?
Yeah, Feanor and Theodric start flexing in the background. Like,
No. Theodric does not.
yeah.
Theodric just kind of stares at Feanor and just goes,
Yep.
no,
All the armor we need.
we we're probably gonna go help rebuild the gates, the palisades, the fences, most of the walls.
We'll help where we can.
Yeah.
People need your help as well.
Hmm.
You seem to be at least decently respected in this town, and you're still a man who's capable of fighting. Last thing this town needs is you in a stupor when someone comes here to set the place alight.
Whatever you have lost, Hound Guts, whatever you're feeling right now, whatever you're afraid you might lose more of, maybe if we work together we can save something. Add to this world instead of taking away from it.
He gives a soft smile and he says, "That would be nice, wouldn't it?"
I give him like a really warm smile and I squeeze his hand super tight.
Brunhild, you'll find her not at her house. Have you been there? Maybe
We did. It was unoccupied.
She did have a friend. Not close, but maybe somebody who would take her in. I've heard her. She's here. And he points down westward, down towards the cliffs. By the Anduin. She drowns her sorrows in that beautiful river. But she does have a friend. What was her name? Fran. She's the fisherman's wife. They had an understanding of each other. Perhaps if you're looking for her, where she's being taken care of in my absence, go speak with Fran.
Thank you.
All I can say is, the world needs more good people. Very few people venture through Stonyford and do something and not ask for anything in return. I know that you are on task by Beorn himself, emissaries as it were. But I can see none of your Beornings yourselves.
Beorn has been very kind to us. We're
As a
happy to
Beorning
do.
myself, you have my deepest gratitude. I do hope that Oderic is safe, wherever he may be. If he's being sheltered here or... whatever fate wills it, it'll happen. He has made his bed. Now he must lay in it, for whatever that's worth.
I'll be sure to pass on your thoughts on the matter to Beorn when we make our report.
He nods. He sips his water and he stands up and says, "Now, lass, you can't be cleaning that whole dingy place by yourself. Let me give you a hand." And he makes his way inside. He grabs his axe as he no longer is dragging it. He puts it over his shoulder. He walks through the threshold and he puts it back at the spot where he was reaching for earlier by his bedstand, and he props his battle axe up, and he looks in one of the drawers, and he pulls out a couple linen cloths, and he gives them to you as well, and says, "This place needs a good dusting, doesn't it? Well,
It does.
where to start?" And he begins going to work, doing whatever you tell him to do.
Yeah. Yeah, like about halfway through, I'll leave and like go to the neighbor's place to see if they have any eggs they can lend us. And,
You have to go. You have to go a few houses down. So immediately there's this small little farmstead to the right of his hut.
Perfect.
It's abandoned. So there's really nothing there. And so you go from house to house, and eventually you're able to find kind of in the back here a small little chicken farm that they're able to do. You kind of tell them the reasons of why you're there, your relations to Ava, and they very quickly give you what you need to go on your way. They're not necessarily kind per se, but they seem dutiful.
Yeah, no, I still thank them profusely. Yeah, so I'm gonna go back and I'm going to make eggs and hash for lunch, and
It definitely cancels out the dingy smells of the place before, that's for sure. And he and Helmgut is very, very grateful to that. And while you're doing
I'll
that,
use 4 of the potatoes that we got from what's his name, Gerald, to make that up. Yeah.
And as you're doing that, Feanor and Theodric, you're off about to do the repairs on the city, as it were. Is that correct?
Yes. Actually, while we're walking in, because Feanor's been thinking about the woods and the traps and stuff that we could construct. So I'm just going to talk and I explain some of the kind of things that you can do and like how you can make tells for people in town to be able to tell them like how like certain things are arranged, and it's mostly for like an in the dark defense as well. Because even if you know it's there, it's still going to be hard to see them in the dark, and it's like small mounds that you dig out, so that as people are walking around, it can even like you can twist and break a leg, stuff like that. Like you cut small channels in the undergrowth and like put other bushes and stuff around them, or like small spikes, like going full Rambo into it. But like the idea of thinking of almost like the kind of traps you'd use to catch game and stuff as well, but like real guerrilla warfare. Like how would I try and stop an assault without making like big object, like without having to construct a whole wall around, like deep in the woods or clear a huge bit of woods. But yeah.
I'm gonna have you make a survival check for me, Feanor. This can be normally if Theodric wishes to assist in this.
Yeah.
Okay. So
We'll
Feanor, I'm gonna have you do it at normal. Yep.
Yeah. 15.
15. You're able to gather enough of the guards and townsfolk to be able to explain this to them. Not only do you show them how to make them, but you show them how to place them, how to mark them, and be able to disarm them if they need to be disarmed as well. You very much successfully do this, helping to contribute to the defense of the city, at least as far as the woods are concerned. Theodric, on your end, what would you like to focus on as far as the defense?
Well, I'm going to be looking at the makeshift palisade that was at the front gate that we were greeted from, and seeing like what state it's in. Maybe break down some of the boxes and like use a hammer and nails to actually turn them into something of an actual defensible palisade.
Yep. I'm going to have you make a survival check for me as well. And Feanor, if you want to go ahead and assist him with this as well, that could be an advantage.
Yeah. No, it would definitely. I'd be looking at stuff like what wood and stuff can be recovered, what we'll need to cut down, that kind of stuff. What do we need to do to build up this palisade so it's not just a bunch of boxes, but an actual fortifiable defense?
Sure.
With the advantage Feanor gave me, it is a 22.
22. So you set about at work. One of the things that the two of you have realized while you're recruiting the people, it's not just work that the two of you are doing yourselves. You can tell as far as the town guard is concerned, there are 6 men of fighting age and fighting stature left in this town to be able to defend it. It is a very, very small garrison of people, which also includes Willifred as well. There are some younger, but plenty of older men too that have decided to enlist. That have decided to enlist in their help too, and a few women too. Some of the younger women have come to be able to assist in the endeavor. However, I will say you've taught them how to do these things, and depending on how long you can stay, the quickness of it being completed will be expiated. However, if you decide to do this for basically the remainder of the day, they can have a working palisade. So the way that it's set up on this map here is there's a road that goes south, there's a road that goes east, and a road that goes north. Obviously, the Anduin is here. This palisade is the one that seems to be the most damaged, and so you focus many of your attention on this. By the time the end of the day comes, you're actually able to have erected a new gate for this palisade. But as far as the refurbishments and helping to kind of rebuild some of the broken parts, that's going to have to come later. This one needs the least amount of attention, and this one needs still a little bit of attention. But you could probably get this done with your help if you, the two of you, decided to full-fledged be here and spend time to fix it. Probably 3 days time. Without your help, it's probably going to take about 5 days to a week. But you have taught them very well how to do it. Actually, people are really starting to take to the information that you have granted them and the ways to make defensible positions, especially for being outnumbered, vastly outnumbered by whatever enemy decides to assault them with so few people.
While we are like going around doing all this kind of monotonous work, can we ask around like about like Oderic and like just like what people's opinions on him were, and like Brunhilde, it's like stuff like that, like just like us, like, oh, like, you know, like we're not just spilling the whole reason we're there, but like, yeah, we've heard like, you know, that Oderic's come back to town apparently, or like he might be somewhere nearby and we're trying to find him.
I would like to be asking more about the guy Oderic killed.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll ask about Oderic, and he'll ask about his, like,
You know, and I'm gonna try not to arouse suspicion. I'm gonna be like, you know, like, what was he like? You know, because everyone's like, yeah, he was a good leader and everything. So I'm gonna kind of be working the angle of like,
trying to figure out if everything is as it seems, or if,
yeah, kind of, because like, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know, something's shifty.
So I'm also going to ask Jess. So Jess, as you are cooking and getting things together, the smell itself is beginning to attract people every now and then, particularly children. If there's anything that you want to ask the children, this is your opportunity to do so as well. Yeah.
You're muted, I think.
I was, yes, thank you. That is very interesting, actually. I was not anticipating this.
With that being the case, I'm going to have each of you make either a persuasion check or a wisdom, just a straight wisdom check.
Persuasion or wisdom? Okay.
a 15.
Mad that I have disadvantage. I got 17.
I'll be back in just a second.
How do I roll just wisdom?
Just click on your wisdom.
click on
Yeah,
wisdom.
Oh, there it is.
I'll be back in just a moment.
Yep.
That's bad. Hang on, do I have advantage?
No advantage on that.
No?
No, I'm sorry, not advantage. I'm trying to see if I have inspiration.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I do not.
I don't have enough points to give it to you, otherwise
That's
it would.
okay. I'm rolling a d16.
Oh, let's see. Okay. I actually, when I went back to Colorado, I got my D16, my actual physical D16.
Yeah.
Hey.
So, let's do it. That is
If you're on, you
8.
need to send a photo.
I wish it was
I guess it's halfway there.
I wish it was inaugural D16, not 16, but unfortunately no.
So what was it? It was perception and wisdom, or perception or wisdom? I mean,
Perception or not, or it would be
persuasion.
Persuasion or wisdom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I only got a 3 on my wisdom.
Okay. And Jess, what was yours?
17 on persuasion.
Right. So we'll start with Theodric. So Theodric, as you're asking around, people seem to be just kind of like brushing you off as far as like, oh, I didn't really know who Rathik was, or like, oh, Rathik, he people tended to like him, but it just kind of like simple platitudes, almost kind of like they don't want to talk about the dead. However, you do get a little bit more information out of some of the guards. And one of the juicy tidbits of information that you get out of them is that specifically O'Derrick always hated Rathik because Rathik married Brunhild. Take this with a grain of salt, whether or not, but this is based off of what one of the guards thought. Whether it's hearsay or the actual physical evidence, you're unsure with that. It's just kind of something they said in passing. Jess, so specifically with the children, what did you want to ask them?
I think I'll more like ask them what their life is like and like who their favorite people in town are, I guess.
They come to the front. And says, "Oi, Mr. Helmgut, sir, when did you learn to cook? It smells divine." As they begin, 3 of them creep their way in. 2 boys and 1 girl. The girl is much younger. She looks like of toddling age, like about 3. The other 2 boys look like older brothers, and they go, "Oi, who is this? Do you have another daughter you're keeping from out of our knowings?" And Helmgut, he's arriving. He's like, "Oi, what are you doing here? Bugger off! Bugger off!"
Now. Let's not be mean. Hey kids, if you can mop this whole floor, I'll give you some lunch. How about that? I'll give you some of what I'm cooking.
The youngest girl, she said, "It smells real good. What can I taste, please? Taste testing. My mom lets me taste testing."
Okay, all right. Here you go. I'll give her a bit of like really crispy potato.
Oh. And then the 2 boys look at her and be like, "Me too, me too, me too." And they begin reaching out.
You have to do chores first, then meal after.
Oh, this is way better than Mars. Okay. Where's the water?
I'll whisper to like Helmsgut. The secret is you use bacon fat to cook it, so the flavor of the bacon infuses the potatoes.
Oi, I'll keep that in mind.
Oh yeah, it's a good tip.
The kids begin going to work as they begin cleaning up and tidying up the space. They don't do a great job of it, but they do a fine job of it. It doesn't smell so much like cheese in here anymore as they begin to dust off the crumbs that are on the ground, moldy bits, and also cleaning out and actually mopping up the floors. But yes, anything you want to ask them. They finish as either as they're working or as you're eating together. Specific questions.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of specific questions. I don't know a casual way to ask kids stuff, so I'm just gonna ask them if they've seen Brunhilde anywhere recently.
Yeah, I've seen her down by the flowers. We used to play with her all the time, but a couple weeks ago she became all sad, and we don't know why. But she sometimes goes down there and she's crying. Ma tells us to not bother her as she just needs to spend some alone time. But she does like to be by the fisherman's wharf and talk to all kinds of fish that they catch down there with Fran.
Okay.
It's weird. I don't think fish can talk to you, but she talks to them all the same.
Well, sometimes you don't really need an answer to the things you're saying.
Then what's the point of talking? My mom, the middle child was like, my mom always says, if there's no point in what you're saying, then don't talk at all.
Interesting advice. Maybe she's talking to give voice to things that she doesn't really understand in hopes that she understands them better.
Like imagination, the youngest one chimes in.
Exactly.
Yeah, I talk to frogs that I catch, sometimes rabbits, and they don't always talk to me back, but sometimes I give them advices to stay away from that fox over there, or to not go out too late at night.
Exactly it. Yeah, she's giving advice to the fish.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna ask something else. I forget what it was. I can't remember. So do you kids often come into Helmgat's plays?
We used to. We used to play lots with Brynhild and Oderic, but we haven't seen Oderic in a while. And with that, you see, actually, I'm gonna have you make an insight check for me.
Yes, let's go. Come on, -1 insight with disadvantage. Let's do it. 17. I've been rolling so well today.
The oldest boy, he says, "No, that's lie. I saw him just this morning." And the other's like, no, you haven't. He's been gone for a couple weeks. Ma said that he wouldn't be coming back. He was going on a trip. And the older boy's like, no, I swears I saw this morning. He was over down by the fishing, and he took one of the boats there and went across the lake. Not the lake, the river.
Ah.
It was really early.
To you at all?
I was feeding the chickens. No. He seemed to be talking in a low voice, but I didn't see anyone there with him.
Okay. Interesting.
He looked so fancy. He looked like a knight.
Yeah. I've heard that he sort of is a knight these days.
Oh my goodness. I honestly, I thought Rathvik was the coolest man in town. He was so knightly. I wanted to be just like him, but Ma said that he wasn't going to be coming around anymore either, which made me sad. But when I saw Oderic and he was wearing that blue cape, he looked so cool. I want to wear that one day.
Ooh, you might. You have to eat all your vegetables and grow up big and strong and join Bayon's little guard.
Even the Bruxcoximal sprouts?
Yes, especially the sprouts.
Oh. If they tasted as good as your food, I would eat them all the time.
Yeah.
I like potatoes.
I don't doubt that.
If I eat lots of potatoes, will I get big and strong too?
Yeah, but you have to eat other things as well.
And then the young girl, she
like
raises
liver.
her hand and she says, "Ooh, liver's disgusting. I was thinking more like, and she begins just kind of like stuttering, like, carrots. I hear they make your skin orange."
Ooh, only if you eat a lot of them.
But I really like them.
This many.
They're really sweet.
In one day.
That's a lot. I don't think I could eat that much in one day.
Well, then you probably won't have your skin turn orange then.
Maybe in 2 days, maybe 3.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of. What made Rathvik so cool?
Well, and the middle kid speaks. Well, he he had a big sword, and he always wore it on his back, and it would shine when he was keeping guard on top of the wall there. And he had this helmet too, and it had a horse tail on it. I think it was a horse tail. And he also had he always spoke like he was so cool. Like he would say, "Hey kids, if you work hard, you could be like me one day." And he was nice, but he didn't like to play with us. We sometimes got yelled at by him, told to stay away from the river.
Not very
and
nice.
all. No, but it wasn't anything worse than what Ma says. So, but he's cool. He was like a knight. I want to be like a knight.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, if you practice lots.
He was married actually to Brunhild. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that. That's very interesting. Do you think they loved each other? Are they all disgusting?
I don't know. I didn't see them together a lot. I think Brunhild, she played more with us. I always saw Rathvik doing knight things on the wall.
That makes sense. Night things are very important.
They are. My Ma says that he's the reason that we're all able to sleep peace at night. Peacefully.
Oh. I always think a hot cup of cocoa does that for me, but that's good to know.
He kept us safe.
Do you feel safe now that he's not coming around much anymore?
No. I don't.
Okay.
Well, although if Oderic is back, I feel safe. Oderic was always so strong. I saw him in the woods. He used to hold a stick, and he would like practice strikes like this, and like he takes like the mop handle, and he just begins just like whacking around like at things, and actually accidentally whacks Helmgut in the shin. And Helmgut's like, oh! Oi! Watch what you're doing. Put that down. And he takes it from him. Eat your food. As he scooches the plate in front of him.
So Oderic was never mean to you, was he?
He didn't talk much, but he was always kind of nice. He there was one time when it was before she was born, and he points to the oldest one, points to the younger girl. There was one time where Oderic he played with us, and it was lots of fun. We were down in the flower fields, and he gave us sticks, and we had to run around and chase each other, and then we would poke each other with sticks and say, "You're it!" And then we would drop the stick and run away from him.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Well, if I see him, I'll tell him you say hi then.
Yes.
Sounds good.
By the way, do you have any more of this? And he points to an empty spot on his plate, one of the places where the eggs were.
No more eggs, sorry. I could only get a few from the house over there.
What about this one? The potatoes. They're my favorite.
Oh, you like potatoes?
They were crispy. I like it. You should tell my mom how to cook potatoes.
Oh, I don't think your mom would like that. She probably knows how to make potatoes her own way.
No. These ones are way better. I can't wait to tell her all about it.
Okay, just careful. You might get me into trouble. I wouldn't want to make your mom angry.
Maybe she could try too, and she'd know. We can go get her real quick if you want.
Do you think she would come, or you think she might be busy?
Mr. Helmgut, can we bring my mom over for lunch? And Helmgut, he looks down and as he looks to you, Jess, a kind of like side-eye. Is there enough food? I think they're eating us out of house at home.
I've got a couple more potatoes left.
Boy, run along, little ones. Okay, make sure you say potatoes. There's no more eggs. I'm gonna tell her there's no more eggs.
Well, tell her to bring some eggs and I'll cook them up.
Yeah, we have eggs at home, and so I'm gonna go do that.
Or potatoes,
and then there's some potatoes. And they all run out and they go and they do their thing to go grab.
Yeah, all right.
And while
I guess I finished cooking for everyone that wants food, and then I'll go to like the flower field or something. I don't know.
Perfect. Baynor. So you are out asking specifically about Oderic. What do you want to find out about Oderic? Do you have any specific questions that you want to be asking people as opposed to just generalizations?
Yeah, okay. I suppose some of the main things it's like I want to ask about is like what was he doing in like the days that led up to him attacking what was his name?
Arathic.
Yeah, but like the days he led up to him attacking Arathic. If it seemed like he came out of nowhere, like and just a chit chat with him, like I've heard that he had a bit of a temper, but like was this like out of character?
Right.
Or did they get into did they get into arguments a lot? Like trying to get more information about the kind of person he was, and yeah, like just that kind of that's probably the more specific stuff of like what was he up to leading up to those events.
All right, I'm gonna have you make a wisdom or a persuasion check. While we're doing that, we're gonna take a quick break. Make sure you mute yourselves. I need to go take a quick bio break, so we'll be right back. And we're back. Sorry about that. But anywho's it. You were looking for people to talk to.
I just want to ask, is this the same role that I did earlier?
Yes. Yeah, same role that you did earlier.
Yes, that was a 15.
15. So as you're walking around, and especially as you're enlisting people to help with the traps when you were in the forest in the woods, one of the people that you actually came across was a man by the name of Othar. Othar is a essentially a woodwright as his basically trade, and he was you asked him specifically about like what he was doing in the days leading prior.
Yes.
Essentially, he gives you this answer. Oderic, he was an interesting boy. He had his way of making enemies, but in the days leading up to the death of Rathvik, to be honest, I didn't see him much for the past couple of months. He would be around during the day, and while Rathvik was on duty, he would take his time, often going on walks through town with Brunhild. He would go back to his lodgings, and he points over, and actually he points over specifically to this house that is right here. So I can put... he would go back to his lodgings and spend much of the day there. And then the evening, once or twice, I caught him sneaking off into the woods. I wasn't sure why, but by the time the morning came, he was always back about town. He was never really talking to people other than Brunhild, but it was... he was an odd one. I never really questioned the things that he did. It actually was quite shocking, the fact that I found out that he murdered someone, but specifically Rathvik, but I don't know, maybe jealous rage, something like that. He was really close to Brunhild.
Did he seem overly was he very protective of her? I've spoken to their father. He says that he made him swear an oath. Does he seem like the kind of lad who would have kept whatever oaths that he made? Did he seem like an honourable kind of chap? Obviously, he's gone and murdered someone. But with the exception of that, I'm trying to learn more about him.
Honorable is a strong word. I would say he was, well, there wasn't much to protect Brunhild from, to be quite honest. We live in a pretty peaceful town to begin with, but he often did get in heated conversations with some of the younger men, unfortunately. Rest their souls. Many of them died a couple months back when we were assaulted by bandits, hence the reason for all this. We lost about 2/3 of our guard that day, but he would often find them and get into spats, arguments. Many of them would call after Brunhild, even knowing that they would face the wrath of Rathvik if they were to do anything. He was quick to anger, that's for sure. Let's just say he laid a beat down on some of those guardsmen, much more than I think they would be able to do to them. Many black eyes, many broken noses.
Nah, okay. Bit of a rough and tumble kind of kid.
Yes.
By this time, has word spread through town that we're on the lookout for Oderic?
People have kind of come, whether they're to the cause of building, or for example with the kids, word has spread that there are travelers in town that are specifically looking for Oderic.
Okay. I've heard that Brunhild stays mostly down by the river these days. She has the fisherman's wife as her friend.
Oh yes, friend. She's a good lady.
Yes. Have you seen her lately? My worry has been we went to his father's house thinking that he might have stayed there. But I'm trying to think about where else he might have been in town, and I sort of make sure that, if he did have some infatuation with her, that he didn't, wouldn't try to run off with her or try to take her away from this place. Especially in the way, with how you described it. If he never really had much to protect her from, but now this place is starting to, it's a little bit worse for wear, but, maybe he thinks that he needs to protect her by taking her away.
Is somebody clicking a pen?
Sorry, that's me. I was fiddling with the thing.
Sorry, I was just that is really... No. Usually it's me, so I didn't think about it for a while, and I'm not holding a pen right now.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me at all.
ADHD gang.
Well, I did actually, oh boy, maybe a month ago, I did catch Rathvik having a verbal argument with Oderic. Oderic was bringing Brunhild back to hers and Rathvik's place for the night, and well, it was later in the evening and about time to go to bed, and apparently Rathvik was shouting that Oderic was spying through the window at them or something. But I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, to be quite honest, but also I think Rathvik is probably... he was a little bit too hard on his brother-in-law. Let's just say that. He always told him that he had potential. He always told him that he could make a wonderful member of the guard one day if he would just discipline himself. Oderic was more of a free spirit. He would often go off, as I had mentioned, on night escapades to who knows where out in the woods. Come back battered, bruised in the morning.
Oh, well. No, thank you. That helps inform me a little bit more about him. I'm definitely going to... Thank you for letting me know which house is his, by the way. I'll have to go give that a bit of a look. I might actually spend that time then, like, after actually, like, just finishing up kind of the task we're doing. If this guy's also a woodwright, I just tell him some of, like, because, like, I'm also a woodwright, just, like, some of the things and, like, some of the ideas, some of the more, like, tactical things of, like, how to set up, like, stuff on the gate to make sure it's braced better, stuff that maybe just, like, your average, like, common folk wouldn't really think of. But after that, I might actually set off to his house to go explore.
Perfect. With that, are you bringing Theodric or anybody along to do so, or are you going to do that kind of as a private endeavor?
I would just go on my own. I'd probably it's probably just one of those things where it's like, you know, there's enough people around in town that, you know, if he just suddenly springs on, like, he's not going to just pounce on me and completely annihilate me in a single hit. You know, I'm quite confident in my abilities. So I'm just going to go kind of peruse and sneak around the place.
Well, then make a stealth check for me.
That's right. Is it disadvantage? Oh, an 8.
It's difficult to sneak. As you said, everyone, you're new in town. Everyone kind of has their eyes on you. But as you begin to make your way close to Oderic's house, one of the things that you've started to realize is, like, people know the purpose of why you're here, and so they don't really bat an eye as you're looking at his house and everything. But as you do, it looks undisturbed. At least from the outside, it looks undisturbed. The doors are closed, shutters are closed. Kind of par for the course. It's about the size of Helmgut's hut. So it's a small hut.
I might try and open the place, and if it's unlocked, and if it isn't unlocked, I'm going to shoulder charge the door down.
Yeah, as you try for the handle, it is locked. And it seems decently sturdy, but I'm going to have you make an athletics check as you attempt to ram the door itself down.
Oh, that's going to be some points of shadow.
23.
23. You take your shoulder and boom! You begin to, you hear a pop as the top basically hinge of the door comes undone. One more boom as you basically break the door in, and there is smoke that kind of, or not smoke, dust that kind of goes everywhere. I'm gonna have you make a wisdom saving throw for me.
A 19.
19. You gain 1 point of shadow.
Yeah.
But you do make your way in, and as you look around to investigate, you see that it is lived in, but it seems undisturbed for some time. It's not as if somebody has come in here and, like, made the bed or anything, but it looks as if it was, at some point, someone was living there, and then for some reason or another, they just weren't. You know the reason behind that, but they just weren't living there. I'm going to have you make an investigation check, though, as you look about and search basically the house and the premises.
A 4.
4. You don't find much that is of suspicion, but you make your way over to the hearth, and you can see that there is something propped up in the back corner of the fireplace.
Yeah, I'm going to grab it. I'm going to see what it is.
You pull out a very dirty sheath, and inside of it looks to be a shattered blade. So it's broken about a fourth of the way down from the tip.
Okay.
And you don't, and there is no other piece. You just have the handle in the main part of the sword. That there's no tip of it, but it's in the sheath. So you pull it out.
Mhm.
There's no other people.
Does there seem to be like a blacksmith's or something in town? Like, is there actually a smith that lives here, or does it seem more like a town?
Not that you can
Yeah.
see.
I'm just trying to think about who would be the most appropriate. But actually, you know what? I am going to head back over towards Helmget's house,
Okay.
and I'm going to ask him about this sword.
All right. You do make your way, and at this point, evening has definitely settled. It is nighttime, and you give a small knock on Helmgut's door, and he opens it to surprise to see you and says, "What can I do for you? You seem to be making quite a name for yourselves around town. Not that it's any difficult here or anything."
Well, I didn't know who to ask about it, but I went and had a look at Oderic's house. You know, kind of see if he'd been back there, of all places. The place didn't seem too disturbed, so yeah, I can be pretty confident that he might have just slipped through town. But yes, I found this in his house, and I pull out the sword and like the scabbard, and I pull it out. Is this of any significance?
What do we have here? As he kind of looks at it.
This was tucked into the back of his fireplace in the hearth.
Here, have a seat. As he goes and he makes his way over to his wineskin, and he pours a little bit in a glass, and he hands it to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a drink.
You said you found this at his place.
Yeah.
This is... Of course he kept it. This belonged to his father. This was the blade that he, well, let's just say saved his own life with when I had first met him out on the road. It looks exactly the same as the day that I saw it. Broken and all. I've tried many times to get rid of it. He didn't need that reminder of his past. But it was one of the last things that he did have from his father. I forbade him to use it, and on many occasions I found him sneaking off into the woods with it. But about 3 years ago, I took it from him. He was growing big, far too dangerous to have something. I thought Brunhild had taken it, but apparently she had given it back.
Yes, I was actually talking to some of the men in town when we were constructing stuff, and I want more of your opinion on it. You're obviously much closer, with him being your son and Brunhild being your daughter. A lot of people in town were saying that Oderic was quite protective of Brunhild, but it was almost like he had nothing to protect her from, so he would seek out conflict in town.
Oh, that's the gist of it.
And I hear that in the months leading up to this incident with Rathvig, that he was seen less and less around town. He would rarely spend time out during the night when Rathvig was on guard, but during the day he would wander the streets with Brunhild. I was wondering was this normal? Because I get that it's a small town, but they were spending a lot of time together. And
well,
it
as
seems
children, they were inseparable. They were best friends. I mentioned this before, but she was his anchor, if you would call it that. Whenever he would go into his fits of rage, his outbursts, all it took was a simple word from her and he would calm down. I think she did what... I think Brunhild pitied him. But I also do know that she loves him. As a brother, of course. goes ahead and he takes his wineskin and he takes a big swig from it and just says, I gotta quit it. And then he just chucks it back onto the bed and he sits down on the bed and he looks at you and he says, "Oh, Derek. He caused lots of trouble. When Rathvik came, he was... I don't know if he was threatened or what. But Rathvik and O'Derek never saw eye to eye on both ends. Rathvik came down from the mountains some 2 years ago. He settled into this town and he quickly rose in the ranks and became captain of the guard. As he did so, he gained lots of notice and lots of honor. I looked at him as a man that could protect my daughter. I don't think O'Derek liked that very much. O'Derek did what he could to protect her. But when there was someone else in, someone else in the picture, I don't know. I'm old. I used to be a warrior. There became a time where I couldn't wield the axe as well as I used to. You get bored in your old age. You need to find purpose. I do wonder if, in part, that's what happened to O'Derek. Rathvik replaced his purpose. They would argue. Rathvik always would tell him that he was strong, capable, a warrior. If only he learned to control himself. O'Derek didn't like that. O'Derek, likewise, he used to say terrible things about Rathvik to people around town. Like Rathvik could beat her, Brunhild. I didn't see any scars, anything like that. Of course, it's concerning. But you hear it enough.
But it could just be the ramblings of a jealous brother, of someone who had a disagreement, I suppose.
My thoughts exactly.
The one thing
everything about Rathvik that I learned from him, that I saw from him, he always kept his word. The things that he said were truthful, seemingly so. Brunhild always had a smile on her face. She always seemed happy. I wanted to believe my son. It just makes it very difficult.
The one thing, Helmgut, that is still on my mind of everything, I've been trying to find out more about what led to this tragedy to happen. If Brunhild was this calming force that, as you say, with a single word could calm down O'Derek, why did he strike down Rathvik, knowing that it would destroy any chance he went peacefully, didn't he? He surrendered to be taken to be judged. Like he didn't just throw away his life, he threw away every chance of protecting Brunhild, of showing honor, of gaining the honor and honoring you by being a noble warrior. I just don't understand how that could have still happened. To imagine what kind of rage someone would have to be in where that anchor in their life isn't enough to hold them down. I don't think it's
that as well.
I don't think it's up for debate that he killed him, but I want to know why. I want to know what kind of man I'm dealing with. I want to know that when I meet him, I could do everything in my power to not harm him. It's not my place to decide. But I need to know if this is the kind of person where if he gives me his word, I can trust it, or if he'll stab me in the back.
Depends on the meaning of meeting him. Clearly, he is on the run. he is escaping judgment. But I do not think of Oderic as someone who's far gone enough to immediately strike blows at the first person to confront him. He's smarter than that. When it comes to his death, though the death of Rathvik, it could have been a fit of passion. I don't know what is the case. All I saw was that same look in his eyes. A look of nothingness. No remorse. No regret. I don't know what could drive a man to shoving a blade through another's heart. Especially someone that is married to the most precious person in the world to him.
I have been putting off going and seeing Brunhild. I'm not the best with my words. My actions are what I speak with best. But I think now might be time to go see what light she can shed about that night.
And with that, as evening has fallen, you, Jess, have been spending a decent amount of your day going about town, trying to inquire about what the ongoings. People seem pretty busy helping to fortify the town itself, but you spent many an hour well into the evening walking through the pastures.
Yeah.
Many
Are there
fields.
flowers around these pastures?
There are many flowers. Actually, these seem
I
to
make
be
a flower crown.
flower beds. And there are all kinds of flowers that you have never seen before, but many of the wild ones that you have grown accustomed to in Wilderland, ones that you've seen at the Easterly Inn, ones that grow around water. And you begin to craft this crown, and I'm going to have you make a perception check for me. This can be at advantage, so it would be normal.
Okay. Yeah. Just flat. Ooh, only a 10 for that one.
Okay. As you do so, you sit in the pastures, but you notice that there aren't a whole lot of people that come by. The moon is full tonight, and but there's kind of this partial cloud cover that obscures things a little bit. You can hear the Anduin as it rushes by, but just above the sound of the water, you hear the sound of a small, almost ethereal singing.
Okay. I stand up, look around, see if I can figure out where it's coming from.
As you look down to the south part of the town, south part of the city, you can see at the Fisherman's Wharf a person clad in a brown dress standing off on the pier, singing off into the distance. Almost
Perfect.
ghost-like.
Yeah. I approach with little caution.
Is it stealthy, or are you just walking up to this?
No, yeah.
You do so, and as you get closer and closer, the singing is it's eerie. It's intermingled with weeping and sobbing, and it's sung in a language that you do not understand. It does not sound like the tongues of the elves, but it also does not sound like the tongues of the dwarves either. It is something altogether different. Do you wish to announce yourself as you approach? You make your way up. She doesn't notice you, but she's still looking out into the water.
I'll just sit and watch and listen to the music, but I'm not going to interrupt her.
I'm going to have you make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Ooh, fun. Is this against points of shadow?
It is against points of shadow.
Okay, perfect. That means I have advantage. I got a 9 and a 2. 8 total.
Okay.
Um,
You listen to this weeping, and you in your heart begin to feel sorrow and sadness. You don't understand a word that is being said, but you can understand the emotion. These are emotions of grief. These are emotions of loss, and most importantly, these are emotions of helplessness. And as you sit and listen, you can't help but feel these emotions kind of rummage through you, and it does strike to your heart a bit. This is someone who's genuinely grieving. She does stop eventually at some point.
Okay.
It's probably around 11:30. You've been listening to her for about 40, 45 minutes. She turns around and you can see a face as pale as you've ever seen. Someone who seems to have lost all color. This individual looks like a ghost. As she begins to walk towards you, she doesn't seem to notice you, almost as if she has this glazed over look as she begins to make her way just past you down the side of the dock back into the flower fields.
Yeah, okay. Before she walks past me, I'll, like, put myself in her path and say, excuse me.
She shakes herself out for a moment and looks down at you and she says, "Oh, it's late, isn't it? We best be heading to bed." She begins to walk into the flower fields.
I'm sorry, are you alright?
She stops for a moment. She turns around. There's no tears in her eyes. She just looks aghast. She says, "How can I be all right? The moon rises. The silver shines on the Anduin. But there's no light to fill my dark heart."
Is this because you think you're not going to see O'Derek again? Or it's because you won't see Rathvik again?
At the words when you first say, "Oh, Derek," she stops and she looks to you. And then you mention Rathvik. She closes her eyes and she looks off into the distance, back into the waters of the Anduin.
Can I do an insight check to, like, gauge her reactions between the two different names? Yeah,
Absolutely.
perfect. Ooh, wish me luck, lads. Roll. Ah! Okay, I got a 3. Not good.
The initial reaction that you see to O'Derek, it seems to be one of sorrow. Rathvik, from what you can tell, seems one of relative indifference, but it's hard to tell.
Alright, yeah. Does she say anything?
She sighs and she waits for a moment and she looks back to you and she says, "Why do you come speaking to me of things you know nothing about?"
I wish to understand. To know.
So do I. She sits down in the flower patch and she begins picking what looks to be little white flowers. And she smells them and she just sits gazing out into the Anduin.
I'll sit down beside her. I'll sit close, but not touching, and I'll follow her gaze out to the river.
Do you know
Will
what
you
it's
tell
like?
me about them?
Well, do you know what it's like to feel loss?
Lost. Like you're far from home and you know even if you go back there, you're so different from who you were when you left that you can't really fit in there.
She looks to you for a moment. She nods and she says, "But what if your home is unrecognizable? As if there's something missing. Something that made your home home. Where do you go when that part is gone?"
I think Jess will... She won't answer immediately. She'll think about it for a second. Maybe what made home home was something, and now it's missing. So it's your duty to become that something for someone else, and to put it back where it belongs.
She looks up to you again away from the Anduin and she says, "I'm sorry. Where are my manners? My name is Brunhild, but it seems you know that."
I'm Jessamine. Your singing voice is beautiful.
She gives a soft smile, a broken smile. There's a song that I learned long ago. It's a song from the mountain folk that dwelled high up north. It's a long lost language. I don't even myself know what it means. All I know is it makes me remember things. Remembering things is better than feeling nothing, even in the pain. Tell me, you speak of Oderic as if you know him. Who is he to you?
I've never met him, to be honest.
She looks downcast.
Everything I know from the things that I found. Echoes of his passing, the effects he has on other people. I'd like to meet him one day. Seems like an interesting sort of person.
One of the things that I have ever pondered is why he was brought into my life. His story is one of tragedy. I don't want to go into too many details, but from the moment I met him, I saw someone who needed saving. But from the last moment I saw him, I was suddenly the one in need of saving. People think Oderic is a terrible person. He's done bad things. I've seen him do bad things. But who of us are really, truly good? The things he did were for me. And it made me feel special. Sounds terrible. Sounds absolutely terrible. But my brother and I had a bond. I always felt safe when he was there. And whenever he lost control, all I needed to do was reassure him that I was there. It's not fair. It's not fair. I married 2 years ago. A noble man by the name of Rathvik. He knew the song that I sang. He would often sing it with me. He was the first man that I truly ever felt close with. And when he asked for my hand in marriage, I happily agreed. I lived in 2 worlds. My husband, he rose through the ranks. He made a name for himself here. Every maiden in town would look at me and say, "There's a Rathvik's woman. Does she truly appreciate him? She does nothing but sneak around. She does nothing to be the wife that he deserves." I knew I didn't deserve him. He was a good man. He was a good man. Make an insight check for me.
Okay. Eight. I'm getting better.
There's a small emphasis on was.
Okay.
You see, I did everything that I could to make sure he was happy. But then one night he snapped. I thank the heavens Oderic was there. She begins weeping uncontrollably, the first tears you've seen from her. It's not fair.
I'll just start rubbing her back very gently.
And before I knew it, they were pushing each other. Blades were drawn. I tried to get in between them, but I couldn't do anything. They're both too big. The next thing I knew, the dagger that I wrestled out of Derek's hands found its way into the heart of my husband. Derek pushed me away. He grabbed the knife from his chest. He looked at me. And he said, "We need to leave." But then, my father was there. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't do anything. But watch as Oderic gave his life. For a stupid thing that I did. Because of me, I've lost them both. I've lost them both. She begins crying, and she's crying into basically this bouquet of flowers that she has been picking, and they spill all around her. no more than 24 white flowers around the ground of where she's at.
I'll let her cry until she seems ready to talk again. And then I'll just gently ask, what did Rathvik do to you that made you so afraid of him?
No matter what they say, he never laid a finger on me. He was a noble man. But he was a jealous one. For the past 6 months, about every night, he was confronting me about what I did with Oderic that day. He said he was no good for me. Tried to make him see truth. That night, apparently one of the guards had overheard a conversation that Oderic and I had, just in passing. Oderic asked me if we just wanted to run away together. I couldn't leave the life that I had, my husband. And so I was honest. I did have that conversation, but I had no intention of leaving anywhere. Oderic was watching. And as Rathvik berated me for even entertaining that conversation, Oderic broke the door down and stepped in. And in my choice to keep some form of semblance of my life, I lost it all. In just a simple moment.
I see.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to unburden this on you. You see, if I tell anybody in town,
No,
that would be the end of everything.
don't be sorry. You've carried this for a long time. Don't be sorry.
How can Oderic seek judgment for a crime that he didn't commit?
He swore to protect you. He promised your father. And he loves you. Whether that's simply sibling love or something more, it's quite strong.
What is your name?
Jessamine. Jessamine Sackville Baggins.
Jessamine. I saw him today. This morning.
Oh, Derek?
She nods. He came in a flurry. He came in a hurry. He somehow knew that I was staying at Fran's house, and he spoke to me through the window. He asked me to come away with him to a place that he said that we could be protected. I couldn't. If I did, not Not only would people think poorer of me, but they would think of him as more guilty. The lies would be true. I bade him go west. Across the Anduin. He said there's people that'll look out for him there.
Did he say who?
A man by the name of Voltaire. And that is where we're going to end our
Fulton.
session. Voltaire.
No! I hate you.
I love the fact killing her with the cliffhangers.
Ah! It might be another month before we play again.
Nah,
and you're leaving me with that.
we have a normal schedule going forward here, so don't worry.
Voltaire. I'm just gonna. Voltaire isn't a name we've heard before, is it? It seems super familiar.
Yeah, it has. It's
Is it?
Voltaire was the guy with the King of the North, right?
No,
Am I right?
that was Vigland.
No. Oh,
I was checking through my notes just then, like, oh, that name
Okay.
sounds so familiar.
it was a V. I knew it was a V name. Wait,
The V
so
names.
what was the new name?
Voltaire.
V-A-L-T-E-R.
I think that's just a popular name in a show that I've watched. But no, no, that was cool. That was a cool day of us just investigating everything.
With that, we're going to quickly go
I love
through
it.
about 2 minutes each about your guys' thoughts for today's session, and then we're going to go ahead and close it down since I know it's late. I got to have some dinner too, and make sure to leave you guys at it. We will be having more AME in 2 weeks, so on the 10th of July is going to be our next Wilderland Adventure AME session. Next week on the 3rd, actually in the morning at 9 a.m. JST, we will have Area Door Adventures. But with that, Theodric, thoughts on today's session?
Thoughts on today's session? I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to see a bunch of my favorite people again. Glad to be playing AME
Is that
again.
me?
That's all of you, yes.
Heck yeah.
Oh my God.
As some of you may have noticed, I was struggling a little bit tonight. Been hard at work, so forgive me.
It's okay.
Hopefully things are going to be a little bit better, and I'll be a bit more awake and present next session.
Yeah.
I tried to go tonight without any sort of caffeine or energy drinks.
Somehow you managed.
I'm awake. I'm not present. But you know, I think next time I'm just gonna bite the bullet and grab an energy drink or something. I'm digging the investigations. I like that a lot. I'm kind of super stoked that I was on the ball with the whole Oderic thing. Like, I had my sneaking suspicion last episode. I think if we run the tapes, we will see Dominic was very suspicious of... I keep forgetting his name.
Rathvik. Yeah.
I was very suspicious of him. I didn't think Oderic just snapped and went on a stabbing mode. Pretty stoked to be right about that. Makes me wonder how we can deal with this, because Oderic... Well, actually, no, Oderic didn't kill a guy. But it's like, we don't want Brunhilde getting in trouble for an accident either.
But
He did still steal the sword and the gold and the cloak from our boys Odo and Maravich.
much less likely to be put to death for that, though.
Yes.
You know,
Especially when we can tell that
Yeah.
he hasn't been using the gold for himself so far.
no.
And he might have just nicked the sword as a way to protect himself from orcs that we knew were in the area.
No, definitely. It adds a
I
lot
like the
more
cogs
moral
going.
ambiguity.
There's a lot of
into how to
ambiguity.
sort-
Mhm.
Yeah.
Moral,
Because,
wiggly,
look,
wobbly grey areas.
We're still going to take him back, but we have much more information to go off.
Right? For example, once Jessamine tells us all about this whole issue with Hilda and everything. I mean, if she does,
Keeps it close
Like,
to her chest.
we're gonna be the ones, interjecting on Derek's behalf that, hey, he's not a murderer. We can't say who did it, but we know he didn't do it. So maybe don't put him to death. Don't do the death, please, Bayon. But yeah, hopefully he comes in quiet. I don't like our chances, to be honest. Like, we always seem to not get great on our persuasion checks, unfortunately.
No, it doesn't help that I have negatives in those.
You got to think too, though, of specific ways. Like the one thing that I love about like a D&D type system is it's also how you approach certain things. And so if like persuasion or something is not your way of doing it, maybe there's another way, another type of stat that you can use to help achieve your means. As opposed to me, like if nothing's brought up, the typical one is going to be persuasion or whatever the case if you're trying to convince someone of something. But
See,
it
but
kind of depends.
the thing is, I'm staring at my stats, and anything
that works
that is
really well for me because I have pretty high charisma.
That's when you ask, hey, can I use my strength for intimidation instead of my charisma?
Yeah.
Which is my dump stat.
Oh no! A lot of people, especially people playing barbarians, will ask if
it's an
strength
alternative
is charisma.
rule, so it's not actually rules as written, but it's kind of is. It's if the DM allows, which is if I'm trying to scare someone by snapping something in half in front of them or shoving them, then I suppose strength.
See, I don't want to just rely on intimidation either, because then you can.
I do. Bro, do you know how many times I could have just fixed stuff scaring them into doing stuff?
But yeah, those are my thoughts on tonight's session.
Jess, your thoughts?
Okay, really quickly. I have a thought. It might be. I don't know how successful I'm gonna be, but I'm gonna try and convince Runilli to come with us to Payon as well and be like, hey guys, this is actually the full story. But like not tell the town anything because they don't need to know. Anyway, that's my thinking on it. I thought it was really cool, like, just delving into the psychology of this little town and like this tragic thing that happened. It's been really fun, like especially talking to the kids and then they dropping that nuke that was I actually saw a Derek this morning. I'm like, what?
Sometimes feeding kids gets you the answer you need.
Exactly. Well worth the extra potatoes. Yeah, that was just a great thing. Yeah, and I feel like I got to be very Jessamine today, which was just like exploring her past with grief and being away from home for so long, and
I totally get it. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Pretty sweet, actually. It's great.
Good to see how
good way to get back into it.
Yeah, for sure. And last but not least, Feanor, your thoughts?
No, it was great. It was good to investigate around town, and we've helped this town as well, which is like an important thing. Like
they clearly have a problem with bandits.
Yeah, and being able to teach them stuff that will help. The whole teach a man to fish. Now that they know more on how to protect themselves, hopefully, that'll be a little bit better off. But no, it was interesting. I'm now up to 8 points of shadow. I did think that would happen after shouldering in the door, but I'm surprised I'm only at 8 with this character. Considering that I started off with so few. I remember
again, though, the potential for the fellowship phases, you could potentially spend it trying to remove your shadow. So there's always that option too.
I'm gonna do that. Nah, Feanor's gonna go down in a ball of fury. No, but no, yeah, getting up there 2/3 of the way until I can't do anything about shadow anymore. But no, it's good. It's good. I was riveted to. I was doing other stuff, but I was writing up a thing in the in my notes and stuff. But hearing like the whole story that Brunhilde was telling, and like it's like, damn, oh my god damn. And then like the reveal that's like, oh, she stabbed him instead, and it's like that he took the blame for her. I'm like, see, I had feelings that like this guy would be like you know, as from an outside perspective looking in, it's like, why would he have snapped in such a way? If she truly loved this guy, he wouldn't have killed him or done something like that to him unless something put her in danger. But I'm like, and that's what I was trying to gather. What is he? Does he see like he doesn't seem like a trustworthy guy based on a lot of the people I've talked to. But I do think that I feel like, you know, Brunhilde has like sent us to, you know, like we're on a mission from Beyond, but we've spoken to Brunhilde and she's told us what happened. You know, we'll definitely like keep that in mind, and who knows, maybe you'll be able to return to Stoneford to help defend it. Like it's like one of those things. It's like we've gained a lot of information here just by helping people, you know, and it's helped our mission. Like we could have just, the moment Jess found out that, oh, he got on a boat and crossed the river, could have immediately come and found us, and we took off to go chase him.
Yep.
But like we spent the rest of that day helping these people. I will need a long rest. Like, I need to get rid of this exhaustion. Oh my god.
I could have rolled 3 nat 20s, but I didn't because of the dumb disadvantage. I was so mad.
Freaking rough, right?
Oh
Yeah, it's fine. Most of my rolls were pretty high. So at least it wasn't like a 20 and then like a 6 or something.
True. I was very happy that I rolled 2 nat 20s when I was trying to like help him up. I'm like, oh hey, this is one of my worst ones. But no, it was a good session. It's going to be interesting to see how, you know, we'll come back to this town probably not that far into the future.
I'm really excited.
I think come back through.
Here's oh man, I don't know if I should say my prediction because Kyle's listening.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Like it's a written thing. So like I have some creative control over it, but there is a conclusion to it that's already written. So
we should bring Brunhilde as a witness.
Yeah, exactly. Don't tell me if I'm right or wrong, but like I think if we leave Brunhilde here, or like even if we take her with us across the river, like when we catch O'Derek, we're gonna be moving through this town again, and then it'll be just like being attacked by bandits and stuff, and then O'Derek will be like, oh.
Look, that might give him a chance to redeem
like that
himself.
Impression.
I've never met the man.
That's true.
He's just still hog-tied, tied on the ground behind our awesome deer. And we're like, it's okay. Like, just bump it across the ground. Like, oh, we're being attacked. Maybe we should help. We should let this guy out. But no, I'm excited to see where the story goes and to see how it changes.
I imagine Derek can only say his own name like a Pokemon.
Oh, Derek.
He's not very intelligent, but he
sounds like a
use tackle.
he's got an attitude.
All right, I'm gonna go to bed, guys.
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry.
You guys, you have an amazing one. We're gonna go ahead and end this pretty soon here, but thank you so much for everybody for joining us and watching. There's a couple of ways that you can stay tuned. Join our Discord. We have our weekly schedule of everything on there, basically set to the time that your computer's set at. So make sure you join that. Also, we have YouTube videos. So if you're confused and you have no idea what's going on, there are 50 episodes of Wilderland Adventure that you can catch up on our YouTube page as well. Additionally, if you want to help support the growth of Fantasy Forge Studios, we have a couple of ways that you can help support us. We have Coffee of the Realm and Candles of the Realm. So we have a coffee that is based off of Everlast, Tabletop RPG that I am currently making here at Fantasy Forge Studios, and also candles as well. So one or the other, if you're feeling down to smell pretty or to taste something pretty, for some people, feed the addiction. That's a great way to be able to do it. For the coffee, though, unfortunately, it's only continental United States and Canada at the moment. If you are interested and you live somewhere else in the world and you want that, make sure to DM Fantasy Forge Studios on our Discord. We might be able to help sort something out to be able to get your product over to you if you really want the coffee. But the candles are international shipping, so that's also super duper cool. Also, Daisnaki, they're a sponsor, a Japanese sweets and luxury treats company. They have a number of Japanese snack boxes, from their popular Japanese snacks in their omakase box to their more traditional, luxurious snacks in their omakase luxe box. If you do order from them at checkout, say the Fantasy Forge sent you. That is how we get the credit for it. And once we hit our referral limit, based off of those, we will give away another free omakase box on this channel. If you also put your Twitch name at checkout as well, you will get raffle tickets towards potentially winning that as well. That is it from my part. Thank you all. May the road go ever onward and onward. I will see you guys all on Saturday for some Everlast. But until then, you guys have an amazing week. You've made it through half of the week. Congratulations. Bye, everybody.